dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold on me. Just hold on me. Just hold on me. Just hold on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold on me. Just hold on me. Just hold on me. Just hold on me.
Two weeks away in the Xfinity cars apparently was long enough, as we are back in the trucks and we are back at a short track here tonight for round number 5 of the Western States Racing League, coming to you live tonight from Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me, my broadcast partner, Mike Damone. Mike, two great races that we saw in the Xfinity cars over the last couple of weeks at Talladega in round 3, and then last week at Mid-Ohio. Back in the trucks, back where this series is most familiar, and at the home of racing excitement.
Yeah, these guys definitely have got to be happy to be back in the trucks after running Talladega and Mid-Ohio in those Xfinity cars. So we'll see how much fun and excitement they're going to have here at the Bristol Motor Speedway here.
Thunder Valley, as it has been known for so long, as we have 29 drivers set to take the grid here tonight, which means we will have some backstretch pitters, and we will get to those in just a moment. We'll take a look at the point standings. Bob Beltrami, even though he finished 8th place last week, Wayne Hutchison only finished a spot ahead of him in 7th. That is good enough to keep Bob Beltrami in the points lead, but only by 7 points. So it is still very close, but again, we're in the very early stages of the season. Guys can move way up and can fall way down in just one race.
Yeah, we've seen that happen several times throughout the seasons that they have ran. As you see, Ross Rollins down 8 and Ryan Steele down 7. But last week's winner, Christian Bishop, is up 7 after his win on that road course.
And both of those drivers, as you had mentioned, both Ryan Steele and Ross Rawlings not participating last week at Mid-Ohio. Now, again, these guys do have drop weeks that they can use over the course of the season that will help mask some of those poorer finishes and move them a little bit higher up in the point standings as the season goes on. But right now we'll take a look at some of the stuff going out on track, as there is Fred Williams in the number 95 getting a big smack of that outside wall. And you can see one of the things that you will see as far as drivers that are running basically iRacing base paint schemes happen this week. Camping World is no longer going to be on these cars on the default paint schemes. iRacing switched all of their Camping World Truck Series stuff over to Craftsman Truck Series to get ready for the 2023 season.
Yeah, so you'll definitely notice those trucks out on track as they have that bright red banner there. But you've seen a few wrecks here on track. Hopefully that's just part of practice and we get things under control once we start qualifying and get to the race.
And there's Julian Ricci with that new Craftsman banner on the front end of that car. We saw Kyle McCartney has it as well. You'll see a lot of guys who were running certain paint schemes prior to the switch will still have the Camping World banner over their car. However, that will change as this season goes on, and as more paint schemes come out with the new car layout. We'll start seeing more of those Craftsman paint schemes as we get set to jump into qualifying here for round number 5, the third truck race of the season. Round number 5 of season 48 overall, as we now will take a look and see who will jump out on track first. Qualifying has begun. It looks as though Earl Weaver is going to be the first one out onto the racing surface in the number 46.
Yeah, I'm going to see him get started there. Looks like he's going to try and run medium-high line and then probably oval the corners a little bit closer once he gets to his qualifying run.
The progressive banking here at Bristol has made it very, very difficult to pass, especially on that inside, as there goes lap number 1, and for that matter, lap number 2 for the 46, as he was really trying to work it. There's the 43 of Mike Fisher, season debutant for the driver of the 43. AOL Toyota Tundra, fastest of all first lap. He'll slow down a little bit, but he will still keep the pole of 14:69 for the 43 of Mike Fisher, as we see Josh Weaver out on track right now in the number 2. He's completed both of his laps, 14:84 his fastest.
Yeah, it looks like Paul Kermery is out there completing his second lap. First lap was a 15:20. This lap of 14:91.
It's going to show how good Fisher's lap was. He's about 0.2 clear, a 10.5 clear of Brad Allison, as Ross Rawlings jumping onto the circuit. 14:95 on his first lap. We'll see a little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 4, what he can do this time around, and it'll be a 14:79. Not fast enough, about a 10th off still of the 43 of Fisher, as Charles Woods negated his first lap, or pardon me, his first lap went through a 14:93. About to complete lap number 2 here.
If he can go a little bit faster lap 2, we've seen almost everybody slow down a bit, and he will increase speed. 14:81 that time by.
Very good lap for him. Jeff Hollingsworth, 1481 on his first lap. Good enough to put him in third. We'll see what Hollingsworth can do here on lap number 2. And for Hollingsworth, it will be slower on his second time around, a 1488 on lap number 2 for the 97.
Julian Ricci out on track, making his first lap.
Just took the green flag. About to see the white flag now is Julian Ricci. And Ricci's first lap, P2 of 1478. Very good time for the one. A little bit slower through turns 1 and 2 on this lap, however. We'll see what he can do.
Caught the wall a little bit.
No, it's valid time, 1482 on his second lap, as we'll see Dennis Fuson out on track looking to start his qualifying run. 10-minute qualifying session. These laps go by quick, especially around Bristol. We're going to be in for 200 laps here this evening around the last great Coliseum. As Fuson coming through 3 and 4 here to complete lap number 1. That will be good enough to put him in 9th of 1488.
Eric Woods completed his first lap of a 1492, so not too far behind him. It's like we got 17 completed so far.
A little bit slower for Fuson on the second lap. Woods faster on his second. Bob Beltrami goes second quickest at a 1477 on lap number 1. Lap number 2 starting off a little bit slower for the number 14. And the points leader will run nearly an identical time, maybe about a tenth slower, or a hundredth of a second slower, I should say.
Looks like Timmy Bates is on track now.
Tim Bates in the number 10. Now, Tim Bates, it's worth noting, and I believe this is the first time we're going to be announcing this season. Tim Bates, as we know, competitor in the Sim Racer's Edge series that broadcasts on Thursday night, that runs the Dallara IR18. Well, unfortunately, the series has decided to stick with the Dallara IR18, so unfortunately we will not be able to broadcast Sim Racer's Edge for Season 6, and we are all very disappointed and upset by that. However, the league did what they needed to do. They went out and they tested a lot of the open wheel cars, all of the open wheel cars, and found that they worked very well on the road courses, as you would imagine, but on the ovals there was a lot lacking. So unfortunately they decided to stick with the Dallara IR18, so Season 6 for Sim Racer's Edge will not be broadcasted this season, as we see Barry Phil circulating around the track.
Barry Phil getting to finish his first lap here. We'll see what his time is, a 15:03. See if he can maybe go a little bit faster this second lap. And
17th quickest of the 20 drivers to lay down a qualifying time, and he's going to be slower by about 2/10 on this second lap.
Still have about 10 left to go. Take their qualifying laps.
Earl Weaver is the only one that has gone out to qualify that has not been able to set a representative lap time. Wayne Fleet rolling out onto the track right now. Ryan Steele has been sitting at the end of pit road since the session began. Kyle McCartney now sitting at the edge of pit road with 3 minutes to go. Jeff Schmeier, Bentley Glazer, Brian Barnes, Keith Kelman, and Angelo Espo, the drivers that have not gone to pit road at all here in this qualifying session.
Yeah, some of our bigger or higher point rated drivers are sitting there waiting. See if maybe they're going to elect not to put down the time and start from the back, try and avoid maybe some early race incidents.
You only need to give yourself about 45 to 50 seconds in order to put a qualifying run down as Fleet almost catches that wall in turn number 4. And for Wayne Fleet, that will be a 14.99, so his first lap will count as Ryan Steele and Kyle McCartney go out on track. Brian Barnes doing the same.
Jeff Schmeier just going to start his as well.
Heavy hitters coming here at the back end of this qualifying session. It's Ryan Steele, the first of the drivers to complete the first lap. Steele a 14.75, still about a half a tenth off. Puts him P2 though.
Let's see if he can get any more speed out of that Chevy there.
Quicker on the turn 1-2 end of the track, slower in 3 and 4 did not help him. Kyle McCartney crossing the line, and McCartney will go P2 as well, a 14.72. Brian Barnes completes his second lap at a 14.82. That time by Mike Fisher has held pretty much from the start of this qualifying session.
Yeah, he found a lap in a lane that he liked and just drove away with it, so we'll see. Kyle McCartney still P2, 14.72.
Schmeier a 14.91 on his first lap. We'll see what he can do here on lap number 2 coming out of turn 4. Better at both ends of the racetrack. Only good enough for 13th though, a 14.87 for the number 30, and kind of at that moment where you're only going to get one qualifying lap in, and now we've eclipsed that. So Keith Kelman, Earl Weaver, Bentley Glazer, and Angelo Espo will not set qualifying times here, and will start at the back of this 29 truck field here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Bentley Glazer has been absent for the last couple weeks. Shows up here tonight, doesn't put down a qualifying run, finds himself in an unfamiliar place as far as the point standings go, but he will look to improve upon that as the season goes on.
Absolutely, as we will now take a look at the starting grid here for tonight's race, and starting on the pole with a time of 14.691 will be the season debutant of Mike Fisher. He will start with Kyle McCartney to his outside on row number 1. Row 2 will see Ryan Steele and Bob Beltrami, with Julian Ricci and Ross Rawlings making up row number 3. Jeff Hollingsworth and Charles Woods will sit in row number 4. Brad Allison and Brian Barnes will make up row number 5. Josh Weaver and Wayne Hutchinson find themselves sitting in row number 6, with row 7 being Jeff Schmeier and Dennis Fuson. Row 8 will see Paul Crumry and Eric Woods.
Row 9, James Dorr and David Weaver. Fred Williams and Wayne Fleet in row 10. Row 11, Timmy Bates and Barry Phil. And then we've got James Campbell, Dustin Burns. Then goes back to 25th is Alan Bergen, Bentley Glazer, Keith Kelman, Angelo Espo, and Earl Weaver.
Glazer, Kelman, and Espo and Weaver once again not setting qualifying times. They will start via their iRating. As weather for tonight's race, we are 8:30 p.m. in sim time, 76 degree ambient temperature, 80 degree track temperature, so still a little bit warm, but as it gets darker here, and it certainly will, the temperature in the cars and in the helmets might heat up, but this track temperature will go down as the night goes on.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things about this track is you want to keep your cool and maintain a rhythm. As long as you do that, you should be all right.
About as well said there as you possibly could have, as we are on our way for what will be the first of 2 pace laps here tonight. Short tracks that are under a mile long will get 2 pre-race pace laps. Gives these guys just one more opportunity to sit there and think about how this start's going to go. And again, with 29 drivers here tonight, all of them make it 28. Fred Williams has not gridded up. So 28 guys here tonight. It's going to get very claustrophobic here very, very quickly, as some stuff going on in the back that's triggering my SDK, but apparently nothing's going on.
I was going to say, that's what I was seeing there as well, but it looks like everything is good.
So we are getting down once again to the final pace lap here before we get rolling from Bristol Motor Speedway. Mike, it's going to be one heck of a night tonight.
I definitely have to agree with that. We will see how these guys are able to handle the adjustment back to the trucks and back to short track racing here.
Absolutely. As the field works its way off of turn number 4, pace truck will make the turn onto pit road, ready for 200 laps from the Bristol Motor Speedway. We are green.
Yeah, as you saw there, it looked like Mike Fisher got a little bit loose, but he has regained it and is pushing his way out to a further lead. Kyle McCartney's sliding up and down the track. Bob Beltrami is looking down to his inside, see if he's going to be able to make that pass.
It's going to be very, very difficult to try to make a pass on the inside line. And I think Kyle McCartney may have gotten a start violation because he is coming down pit road right now.
It does look like he did. Noticed at the start Mike Fisher's tires kind of spun, so maybe Kyle McCartney was just a little bit in front of him. We're going a little bit faster.
Out.
Cautions out, looks like James Dorr.
Burns.
James Campbell, 2.
It's Dustin Burns in the 4, well, the 04, that Las Vegas Golden Knights number 04. See what happened here as we were watching Campbell, or as we were watching McCartney. Well, the incident's going to happen a little bit further ahead. As, that's the 00 running.
The 55.
13 over.
Looks like the 55 checked up and caused the pileup.
See it again here. There's the 55 under the 16 now. It's going to happen at the end of this lap, it looks like. Oh, he got loose coming out of turn 2, and the 16 had nowhere to go. Spun that Dubby's Ford F-150 nose first into the fence.
Yeah, it looks like he got right next to Eric Woods there and just took that air off and went right into that wall.
These drivers do have a fast repair on board tonight.
That is not the time you want to use it, though.
Oh, no. 4 laps into a 200-lap race at Bristol. I could think of a couple better times that I might want to use it. Brad Allison, James Campbell, Kyle McCartney, as we saw, serving a penalty. Alan Bergen and Dustin Burns all down pit road. Burns using a tow right now, which is why he hasn't repaired his car nor gotten back out onto the track. Let's take a look once again at the initial start of this race and see if we can see what might have happened with Kyle McCartney. Here it is. Into the restart zone, and that might be one of those minimum speed things, or he came down pit road voluntarily, because I believe I believe the penalty for that is just a drive-through. But he went in and stopped in his box.
Yeah, it looks like he got fuel, but... It'd be interesting if he did just come down voluntarily.
Yeah, that would be one of the more intriguing things. I can think of a couple things I'd rather do at Bristol than be stuck in the middle of the field. As green flag is back out once again. And boy, Bob Beltrami got a horrific start there, as Ryan Steele now pouncing all over him for second.
Yeah, Bob Beltrami looks like he missed a shift or something, just wasn't on his toes to get going, but he is able to maintain P2 now.
Now the restart zone is... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, as Ryan Steele was able to make that jump, but that restart zone, like you were going to say, is on that corner.
It's in turn 4. It's not on the straightaway, and that is exactly what I was going to say. As Jeff Hollingsworth getting around Brian Barnes for the 6th position. Barry Phil working his way to the inside of the 16 of David Weaver. This is for 15th spot, as I believe that's Charles Woods that's going slow. It is the number 40 of Charles Woods. Must have gotten loose coming out of the corner, I would assume, no?
Yeah, it'd have to be. But as you're watching that, I was looking here, and it looks like Kyle McCartney made his way down to the pits again. Looks like he's just pulled in and stopped.
It's got to be that has to be a hardware issue, or he's got something going on in the background that we don't know about. As Mike Fisher now has broken away from this field with Bob Beltrami in tow to the tune of about 0.7 of a second. As Fisher leading away has led all 15 laps that have been completed as of this moment. And again, it's going to be a very difficult racetrack to pass on the inside line. However, it's kind of where you want to be as this race progresses.
Yeah, you definitely want to be down on that inside line. As we're watching the times of these top 2 drivers, they're running almost 1/10 of a second faster than everybody else back through the field a little ways.
On board with Fisher and America Online number 43 now starting to get the jump a little bit there on Bob Beltrami, and this car already just looks like it is on rails tonight.
Yeah, as soon as he found the right spot to be in practice, he threw down the gauntlet there in qualifying, and nobody was able to catch him there, and he has not backed off when it came to this green flag racing either. As Paul Krumrei gets passed there by Wayne Fleet.
Krumrei getting passed up by a couple of guys there. Barry Phil in the 42. Now Bentley Glazer is, contact between Barry Phil and Wayne Fleet. Phil goes to the inside wall as well. Caution now comes out. Well, there's Barry Phil.
Yeah, it looked like he just got a little bit of a run there on Wayne Fleet and couldn't get off of him.
There's the 6 and the 42. There's the shot right there. And then the 42, in a moment of instant karma, gets done unto him what he done unto Wayne Fleet.
Yeah, he just ran into the back of Wayne Fleet and then got bounced up the track there.
So caution number 2 early here tonight. Going back and looking through some of these races here at Bristol. Last season, only 4 cautions for 200 laps here at Bristol at season 47. Season 46, was round number 5 as well. That race had 6 cautions in it. Season 45, which would have been the fall of 2021. They came to Bristol once again, 7 cautions. So they've gotten a little bit better each time they have come here, but there is one glaring similarity between all 3 of those races that I just mentioned. Want to take a guess at what that is?
What is that?
Ryan Steele won all 3 of them.
Ooh. Well, he's sitting in a pretty good spot there, back in 3rd.
Last season led 81 laps en route to victory after starting in 2nd. Spring of 2022, season 46, he led 53 laps after starting 19th en route to a win. Season 45, he led 96 laps starting 16th en route to victory.
So he qualifies poorly, but races the track really well.
Yeah, that seems to be about it. You'd have to go back to the spring of 2021, season 44, before you find a unique winner here at Bristol, and that will be the guy who will start on the outside of the front row here for this restart, Bob Beltrami.
Yeah, I was looking at the overall stats before we came here. Looks like they've raced here 26 times before, with only 9 different winners. So,
and again, the same guy having won the last 3, currently sitting in 3rd. Should be ready to go here momentarily, as the lights on the pace truck, I would assume, would go out now, and they do. Dual pit roads here, by the way, so during green flag you do not have to enter in turn 2 and then wrap all the way around. You can enter turn 2 and exit turn 3 and enter turn 4 and exit turn 1, depending upon which side of the pit lane you are. Now, there are about 3 or 4 backstretch pitters, the drivers who started at the back of the field, getting those pit stalls. Bentley Glazer, Angelo Espo, Earl Weaver, Keith Kelman, the drivers who will be pitting from the back straight away, as there goes the 43 once again. Another great restart for him. And once again, that's Ryan Steele to the inside for 2nd.
yeah, Fisher's got that restart figured out. He starts down on that bottom line. As soon as he has enough room, he's up to the top side, almost to the wall to make the turn as Bob Beltrami dives down to the inside. He's going to try and make that pass on Mike Fisher. Almost door to door. Ryan Steele's fading back just a little ways, with Jeff Hollinsworth making his way up as Bob Beltrami gets spun.
Beltrami got loose, and that's going to wreak havoc in the back, as that's the 85 of Woods.
Weaver.
Boy, and again a hard hit for Beltrami.
Campbell.
They're still getting into it.
Oh my gosh.
1 and 2 in points. Involved in that is Wayne Hutchison was around backwards as well.
Like Beltrami's nose got shoved up a little ways there.
Let's see, he's battling with Fisher, had the race lead, but got loose on the bottom.
Got loose and everybody was trying to go around him.
There's Wayne Hutchinson, 16, involved in one again. Ooh, there's some good damage for Bentley Glazer as well. It's right on board with Beltrami. He's already sliding here. He's able to save it, and then see the incident. Oh, and he tried to speed up to get out of the way of it.
Get out of the way.
Unfortunately, things tend to find you here at Bristol more often than not. From Wayne Hutchinson now. he got through the initial part of the incident okay, but then it was the 85 of Eric Woods sliding up into his door that put him in it. I mean, I guess the positive would be that Bristol is not necessarily an aero-dependent racetrack.
Definitely not.
Kite in the YouTube chat, just search the Western States Racing League. Pretty much new guys in here every single week. Tell them where you heard about us, or go to their website, which I will get to you right now. WSRLracing.com be where you could go to register for the series if you're interested in joining. As we are getting set to go back to green flag racing again, and we've seen it already this year, where if they can't get enough green flag laps in between restarts, that they will go single file. And I think if we wreck on the first lap again here, that will be the case for the next restart.
Yeah, they have to get a couple laps before they will maintain the double file restarts. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see if Mike Fisher can get that huge jump he's been getting most of the, or on every restart.
And he does get it. As now Ross Rawlings looking to the inside of Jeff Hollingsworth for second. Rawlings able to clear the 97 coming out of the corner. And look at Josh Weaver in that John Deere number 2, really starting to work his way forward. He's up 7 positions from where he started.
Yeah, definitely on the move. Said it was going to be hard to pass, but sometimes others' misfortunes help you quite a bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, looking at the biggest mover, you're looking at, what, Earl Weaver back there?
Earl Weaver in the number 46. He is. Oh, somebody had gotten loose and bunched this whole pack up. We're keeping it straight, though. Earl Weaver running in 10th position, plus 17 from his last place starting spot. So he's got the 03 of Brad Allison right to his inside.
Yep, sure does.
Wayne Hutchison getting through on Earl Weaver, as well as guys like Bob Beltrami and Bentley Glazer continue to work their way back up forward through the field, as there is the number 14 of Bob Beltrami, not on the lead lap because of that incident any longer. Beltrami trying to fight his way back up through this field, and he's got the lucky dog car right in front of him, the 85, as though somebody's going around in the back there. That once again is Wayne Fleet. Off the racing surface, stayed straight enough to not trigger the caution, so we will stay green. Here's what happened.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, was able to stay just clear enough to not bring out that caution.
Wayne Fleet versus Barry Phil yet again. That's the second time the 42 has spun the 6 around tonight. Battle for the race lead. Mike Fisher and Ross Rawlings keeping close company. Jeff Hollingsworth, Josh Weaver, and Julian Ricci completing your top 5. All those cars on screen there on the straightaway. Rawlings looking to the inside now of the 43 of Mike Fisher, who has led every single lap thus far. And Fisher, forced up to that outside line for the first time tonight, relinquishes that race lead.
Yeah, he only lost it for just a little bit before Bob Beltrami had that got loose in front of him there. But Ross Rollins is maintaining this lead. Mike Fisher's not giving it up too easy, though, as he was trying to battle back there.
Close battle, this one just inside the top 10, as that is Tim Bates on the inside in the number 10, picking off a position over Dennis Fuson in the number 11. That demotes Fuson back down to 10th. Brad Allison having a very good run. Qualified 9th in that 03, has stayed clean for the most part. Running quite well just outside the top 10 in the 11th position right now.
Yeah, definitely had a little bit of a hiccup there, but is battling back, just back up towards the front, sitting just outside that top 10. Wayne Hutchison has that lap car in front of him, looking to try and make up another position on track anyway.
Now this is a race that on the east coast of the United States will have started at 10 minutes after 10 p.m. Eastern Time. West Coast, where a lot of the drivers in this series are from, would have been a 7:10 start. For Brad Allison, not too bad for him, as this would have been about a 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. time start for him, as the Aussie sits in the middle of the day on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's amazing how how this allows so many people to get together, as Julian Ricci slowed down on the backstretch there.
Yeah, that was really slow there for Julian Ricci. He must have really hit that wall. Doesn't appear to have too much damage, does Julian Ricci. Bob Beltrami also going down pit road, as Ricci slowly crawls into the pit lane. Wonder what would have happened there.
I don't know. It looks like they just it's just going so slow.
He's battling with Ryan Steele, and then just as if the car died.
Blow up the engine? I mean, I don't know. Coasting pretty slow around that track there.
You can barely see there on the tack that it's barely showing revs, and now it's dead. It's interesting. What could have happened to Julian Ricci?
Back out on track now.
Yeah. Whatever happened, it was temporary for that number one. Paul Crumry trying to keep Bentley Glazer at bay. Of all the races that we've seen Bentley Glazer be so good at, Bristol has been a bugaboo for him. Now he's led a lot of laps here, but this has been one of those races that he just has not been able to score the victory.
Yeah, he always runs relatively well at most of the tracks, but this one he's led a few laps. He's been basically in the right place at the right time, but just hasn't been able to close it out. So we'll see if he's able to march back up through this field and maybe get that monkey off his back with only 62 laps completed so far.
Yeah, we are just about a third of the way through here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Ross Rawlings, as you can see, with the help of lap traffic, has gotten out to a 1-second lead over Mike Fisher. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the Western States Racing League on Sim Racing Media. Well, you saw it on stream in our SRM side by side. Dennis Fuson going around on the back straightaway after a battle with the 87. James Durr in the 55. Meeting of the minds.
Yeah, just nowhere really to go. Looks like he almost drifted up a little bit as Durr was coming through, and around he goes.
55 did get a great run. As pit stops are taking place right now. Ross Rawlings will win the race off of pit road. Jeff Hollingsworth down and away in second. Bentley Glazer, as we had mentioned, one of the drivers on the backstretch pit. Taking his place on pit road. About 5 or 6 drivers actually on the backstretch pit, as Charles Woods will come out as the race leader. Dennis Fuson, Dave Weaver, Julian Ricci, and Eric Woods right now will be the free pass recipients once we get this stuff all in order again.
It'll take that wave around, get back on the lead lap, or should get back on the lead lap or close to it if they stay out.
Now Keith Kelman, oh, never mind. There goes that 30 seconds worth of talking point right there. Keith Kelman, I was about to say, the only driver on track that has not come down pit road in any way, shape, or form tonight. Right, that was true right up until the point when he just did. So there goes that.
Yeah.
So we will take a look. There was an incident as well earlier on. I try to see what happened with Bob Beltrami, because he came down pit road once again during that green flag run, and we missed it, as he's slow down the back as well, maybe just trying to nurse that damaged car back to pit road and try to lick his wounds. Beltrami right now, is the wave around cars getting their marching orders. Beltrami has been on pit road ever since that moment. He's been on pit road for a good 4 minutes now. Has the 14. James Campbell has been on pit road for about 5.5 minutes in the number 13. Dustin Burns been on pit road for the better part of a half hour at this point, as Charles Woods will lead them down. Green flag in the air, and he started way after the restart zone. As Ross Rawlings will take over that race lead on the outside line. Mike Fisher running in second. Josh Weaver, Jeff Schmeier, Wayne Hutchison. Oh, Wayne Hutchison, and more cars coming in. There's Ricci, there's Woods. Hollingsworth involved as well. This has been a smackdown, drag-out night here at Bristol.
Tons of cars involved there.
See what happened here. Hollingsworth catching the apron there, trying to go around. Boy, that was a mess right there. Oh, Keith Kelman comes flying in. Julian Ricci the same. Let's follow Wayne Hutchinson here. He gets pushed by Tim Bates into the side of the 97.
Oh, Ricci. Oh, everybody just can't avoid it.
So on board with Keith Kelman here coming through. Sees the incident. Locked it down. See if we can ride on board with the one of Julian Ricci here. Here we are on board with Ricci. Boy, there was very little let up from Ricci, if I'm fair about it.
I'll say it looks like everybody didn't really want to let up.
I understand the thought process of wanting to try to speed up to get around an incident, but when the track is blocked like that, there's really no sense in doing that.
Yeah, there's nowhere for you to go there.
We talk about Dover being one of those self-cleaning racetracks. This is also certainly one of those tracks that falls into that category with how high the bankings are here. But it takes a minute before that cleaning off effect really takes hold, especially on the straightaways, which are a lot flatter than the straightaways at Dover.
Yeah, it definitely will take a little bit. They're not just going to slide down immediately.
Ross Rawlings, Mike Fisher, Josh Weaver, Jeff Schmeier, Ryan Steele, and Brad Allison here on this start, which will come with 121 laps to go here at Bristol, as this has been one of the more incident-filled races that we've seen here at Bristol since we started covering the Western States Racing League, not just on Sim Racing Media, but in our prior life as ESPN. As Mike, why don't you take us down for this restart here?
Let's do it. Looks like they're getting ready to go. Pace truck is in. Ross Rollins is down and away. Gets a pretty good jump. Mike Fisher's left kind of in the lurch on that outside lane. The two of Josh Weaver in that John Deere gets a pretty good jump. Jeff Schmeier making his way down to that inside line. Gonna try and close ground to help Weaver get by Fisher, but Fisher stays up high and is able to get that better drive off the corner. Schmeier down to the inside, gonna try and get past Weaver.
Schmeier trying to make the best of what he can do right now. Schmeier didn't have the best of starting spots. Started back in the 13th spot, did the number 30. As Bentley Glazer, thanks to pit strategy, now up into the top 10, running in 6th.
Yeah, he's up 20 positions. I don't know how exactly that happened after he was also down pit lane on lap 70.
And that backstretch pit can help you. As Glazer, right in front of his teammate Jeff Hollingsworth, as somebody caught the wall back there that might have been Wayne Hutchison or Dennis Fuson, still falling back, so it might have been him.
It looks like Weaver's trying to get a little bit of ground there. Down to the inside of that 00.
46 of Earl Weaver, 1 lap down. Alan Bergen, who is in that 00, is just in front of Earl Weaver. That is the free pass car. So 00 and 46 are the two cars battling for that free pass position. See the 16 of David Weaver down pit road. Josh Weaver still trying to hang on to that 3rd position over Jeff Schmeier.
Yeah, he's been battling hard, drove up to the 3rd position. up 8 spots from where he started there as well. And it looks like Ross Rollins is out to almost 3/4 of a second lead over Fisher there.
See the battle for second on your screen, and you're right. That lead for Ross Rawlings has gone up to about 1 full second as Rawlings in that 91 holding station here thus far. And he's gaining time on Fisher. It's not just a couple hundredths here, a couple thousandths there. No, it's 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 3.5 tenths a lap that Ross Rawlings is putting down on Fisher. And again, another 2.25 seconds, 2.25 tenths, I should say, over the 43.
Yeah, he is just driving away. He's got that fresh air up front, and that seems to be making all the difference.
Talked about the fine night that Brad Allison is putting together. Tim Bates as well, putting together a very nice night. He has remained relatively clean here this evening, running in the 8th position right now, up 13 spots from where he started in that number 10. And again, as we had mentioned earlier tonight during qualifying, while that number 10 was going around the track, Tim Bates, the winner of the first ever Sim Racers Edge race back, 3 years ago now. Sim Racers Edge has decided to continue running the Dallara IR18 and unfortunately will not be able to be broadcasted for season 6 this upcoming season. We do hope that the issue between iRacing and the Racing League that shan't be named as, that's Bentley Glazer sideways in turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like he just lost it coming into the corner there, but we'll see if maybe he had a little help there.
Yeah, let's take a look and see. Bentley Glazer just gotten into 4th. And, he just lost it.
Lost it, was able to hold those brakes, though, to stay out of everybody else's way.
That is a very lucky boy to have spun at Bristol and not hit or get hit by anything.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, especially watching all of the wrecks that happened before.
And with how high he had entered, well, in any event, we tried it before. We'll do it now. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the Western States Racing League just shy of halfway in round number 5 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Back live here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, about ready to get going. 100 laps down, 100 laps to go. Coming off of turn 4, Ross Rawlings leads the field with Mike Fisher on the outside line. Green flag back in the air. The halfway point has been passed.
Yeah, it looks like Mike Fisher spun his tires or something again. He got caught sleeping as Josh Weaver down to his inside is going to try and make that pass. Jeff Schmeier follows Weaver down on that inside lane.
It's starting to look and feel like that high line, because of where the restart point is, it's a very, very difficult restart for these guys to try to gauge. One, to gauge when the leader goes, and two, try to gauge the level of grip that you have when you hit the loud pedal.
Yeah, I mean, if you're up top there and you hit that loud pedal a little too soon, you're going to spin right around right in front of the whole field. So better be safe than sorry, I'm assuming, is what's happening there, and why that outside lane just doesn't seem to get the restarts that they need.
We've only got 22 cars on track at the moment. A lot of guys on pit road still getting repairs. The only official retirements we know of: Kyle McCartney, James Campbell, and Eric Woods. Those are the only 3 official retirements that we have. Now, Paul Crumrye, Julian Ricci, and Bob Beltrami are still on pit road, as far as we know, repairing crash damage. All 3 of those guys have been on pit road for more than 5 minutes, with Beltrami on for over 10.
Yeah, they've been involved in a couple of early crashes, and looks like they're just probably, I would say they're probably just going to call it a night, but they might get back on track later and try and get a few laps turned here. But right now, Ross Rollins is leading this race by almost half a second.
A couple of positions can be gained for sure, as Dustin Burns on track right now, and just by him clicking laps away, he can get as high as 22nd. He was 28th, stone dead last. But by him just getting out, and if he completes the rest of the laps, he can get as high as 22nd, barring whether or not anyone ahead of him gets on the racetrack as well.
Yeah, every point matters when you're, racing for that championship there.
Absolutely. And for Dustin Burns, who came into tonight's race a little bit further down in the point standings, take a look at where Dustin Burns, oh no, actually came in at 11th in points. So it's a nice way to gain a little bit. Finished 17th at Dover in the season opener, 19th at Kansas, 10th at Talladega, and then 17th again at Mid-Ohio last week.
I've been having a quietly decent season for himself there, as Bentley Glazer's trying to get back to where he was before. He's currently running 9th.
And these are positions for Bentley Glazer as well. He may have spun, but he did not lose his place on the lead lap. So these are positions for that number 87. Now looks to chase down Wayne Hutchison, who, depending upon the night that Hutchison has tonight, could very well end up leaving Bristol with as much trouble as he had with the points lead. He came in just 7 points behind Bob Beltrami. Beltrami, we expect, is out of this race and will finish in 25th, possibly 26th, depending upon how many more laps Dustin Burns can complete. So that 21 could end up as the points leader coming out of this race.
Yeah, that'd definitely be something he would be looking forward to there. As Fuson gets down and tries to stay out of the way.
James Fuson running in the 14th position. He is the first car now, no longer on the lead lap. Ross Rawlings has gotten out ahead of this field and has put the business to them. 2.5 seconds over Josh Weaver. Mike Fisher is a further half a second behind Weaver. Steele a further second behind Fisher. And then it's Jeff Schmeier, Jeff Hollingsworth, Tim Bates, Wayne Hutchison, Bentley Glazer, Brian Barnes, your top 10 pretty much running nose to tail.
Yeah, we got several big movers, though. Moving up more than 10 positions, which is pretty fantastic here at Bristol. You know, Tim Bates, Bentley Glazer, Barry Phil, Keith Kelman, even guys that are down a couple laps, Angelo Espo and Earl Weaver, are up 12 positions apiece.
Espo and Weaver did not get qualifying times in. Neither did Keith Kelman did not get a qualifying lap in. Barry Phil plus 10, Bentley Glazer plus 17, Tim Bates, as you had mentioned before, plus 14. As we saw the 16 of David Weaver circulating the racetrack down on the bottom. Not a battle for position right now between these two, as Ross Rawlings continues to put a hurtin' on this field. Last time around, a 1570 for Ross Rawlings. Josh Weaver, a full tenth of a second slower. Now 2.3 seconds behind the race leader and falling.
Yeah, the fastest car on track was almost Ryan Steele there with the 1568, so he's running about equivalent lap times to the leader there. So we'll see if he's able to make a few passes and maybe give Ross Rawlings a little bit of a challenge there on that front end.
As we had mentioned before, Ryan Steele has won the last 3 races here at Bristol. Starting deep in the field in 2 of the 3. Started second in his most recent win here. As a battle for second between Josh Weaver and Mike Fisher going side by side through 3 and 4.
F. Fisher down on the inside. Sticks Weaver up high and is going to probably wind up using Julian Ricci almost as a pick, but Ricci stays high out of the way. So Fisher and Weaver side by side still.
This is all slowing up not just Fisher and Weaver, but it's also slowing up Ryan Steele as well. And that gap now is growing exponentially. They lost 0.2 of a second battling side by side with each other through that corner alone.
Yeah, sometimes Weaver gets into the wall, gets into Fisher, around goes Fisher. Weaver in front of Hollingsworth.
Boy, it's only a matter of time when you're racing that close around a racetrack like this where you have to be so inch perfect. And Mike Fisher, the first hint of trouble that he has sniffed here tonight. See it again here on replay. 2 bounces off the outside wall, and netcode brings the 2 of them together. And as you had said, Weaver bouncing off of Jeff Hollingsworth as well.
So that will shake up the strategy here.
Certainly. Take a look at this one more time, this time from on board of Josh Weaver. Bounce off the wall here, boom, right there. Net code, and then into him he goes. Again, that threw him right in front of Jeff Hollingsworth. It's a good 5 or 6 lap battle, though, side by side between the two. As Wayne Hutchison will stay out, he will lead a lap. And Julian Ricci will get a lap back.
Wayne Hutchison electing to stay out and get the get that extra point there. Ryan Steele comes out of the pits in third place now.
So it'll be Hutchinson, Rawlings, Steele. The top three. Again, Hutchinson having not pit. Last came into pit on lap 75, so it's been a while since that number 21 has been down pit road. Jeff Schmeier, Bentley Glazer will round out the top five as Glazer keeps finding a way to stay up at the front.
Yeah, he definitely does. Like I said, he's ran fairly well here. He just hasn't been able to win consistently. So we'll see if he's able to do that. We'll also see if Ross Rollins getting that high line, if he's going to be able to get that restart that he's had before when he was on that inside lane starting in that pole position there.
Again, this is only the third start of the season for Bentley Glazer. He ran the first two races at Dover and Kansas, but did not run the two Xfinity races at Talladega and Mid-Ohio. So whether or not that's him taking himself out of the championship, not wanting to run the Xfinity cars, or something to do, or just had a thing about those two racetracks, that has definitely put him behind the eight ball. Is a great start from Wayne Hutchison. Puts Ross Rawlings to the arrears of not just himself, but of Ryan Steele as well, as Steele looks to the inside now for the race lead as Rawlings rides the wall through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Rollins just went up and tagged that wall. Nothing doing there for him. But Ryan Steele finds himself in a familiar position here at Bristol.
Rawlings broke something.
Yep. Heading to pit lane. And Caution's out.
Caution comes out. It's not going to be for this. Well, it's not going to be for that incident. I don't think, at least. So I can't see on timing and scoring if there's anyone stopped or anyone going obscenely slow. If you wouldn't mind, old broadcast partner, old buddy, old pal of mine.
I'm a looking.
So while he goes a looking, Ryan Steele finding himself in a very familiar position here at Bristol, going for 4 in a row here at this racetrack. It might have something to do, and I'm going to take a wild guess on this, but it might have something to do with Earl Weaver in the 46. As, yep, it does have everything to do with Earl Weaver in the 46, as a matter of fact. It was Earl Weaver battling with Angelo Espo. Espo gets up. Oh, no, he was already around. So let's see again here. There's Earl. Oh, Weaver lost it coming out of turn 2, and then just ended up going sideways, and he didn't hit anything right up until the point when he did hit that inside wall.
No, it looks like Wayne Fleet got into that outside wall too.
So that is
right next to him.
So that is the reason for the most recent caution. James Campbell, done for the night. Bob Beltrami, done for the night. Eric Woods, Alan Bergen, done for the night as well. James Durr, David Weaver have been on pit road for roughly 10 minutes each. Fred Williams did not start this race, and Kyle McCartney, now we assumed that he had gotten a penalty on the restart, on the initial start of the race, and as he went down to serve that penalty, the caution came out. And because of that, it's a penalty you have to serve under green. He may have gotten disqualified from this race for not serving the black flag in a timely manner, which I would say is a little cheap, but we will try to confirm what happened over the course of the week and see if that is indeed the case as to what happened to Kyle McCartney.
It sounds like that's probably what did happen. And looking back at talking to some of these guys, it looks like a few of them had engine failure, and that's why we're seeing so many guys on pit road for so long.
Those engine failures are, for those of you who have never been on the iRacing sim, those penalties of the not the penalties, the engine changes are a half hour on pit road mandatory. So you're on pit road for a good long while if you don't have your fast repair, as Ryan Steele works his way off the restart. Jeff Schmeier following him through as that demotes Wayne Hutchison down to third.
Yeah, that inside line is just dynamite on the restarts, and like we were talking earlier, looks like they just don't want to get on that loud pedal too fast and get spun around, so they kind of hang back a little bit, but they're still hanging back there as Ross Rollins is down on the inside. Wayne Hutchinson's holding up Bentley Glazer, who's looking to go to the front.
That's Ross Rawlings just coming off of pit road, so now only 12 cars on the lead lap, the last of which being the 43 of Mike Fisher, who'd been up in the top three pretty much all night before that contact with himself and the number 2, is 3 wide going into turn 3. Bentley Glazer really trying to make a move as Wayne Hutchison continues to fall back.
Yeah, Bentley Glazer got tired of being behind Hutchinson, went down to the inside and tried to get to the inside of Weaver, as well as we're see Ryan Steele dealing with Ross Rollins up here as the caution comes out. Looks like Julian Ricci is around.
And because Ross Rawlings made that pass, he does not get the wave around. That will instead be Earl Weaver getting the lucky dog as Ross Rawlings gets his lap back the good old-fashioned way around a good old-fashioned racetrack like Bristol. See what happened with Ricci here. Battling with Jeff Hollingsworth on the inside. Angelo Espo comes in, and around he goes.
And that Jets truck punts.
Something that team has gotten very, very used to over the last couple of years.
Looks like Ross Rollins gets around, is headed to the pit lane to get his service done there.
So it'll be Ryan Steele, Jeff Schmeier, Josh Weaver, Bentley Glazer, and Brian Barnes. Your top 5. Brian Barnes, this is a guy that when we first started calling races here for Western States, he was a reigning, defending 3-time champion. This season, he got off to a slow start, finished 16th at Dover, 13th at Kansas, finished 5th at Talladega, 4th at Mid-Ohio. But Brian Barnes, he has been a little ways away as far as being a championship competitor here over these last couple of seasons.
Yeah, he's kind of faded away in this series, but he still runs pretty good every week, so it's not not something to be too concerned about.
It has been over a full season since that number 4 has seen victory lane. That was back at Charlotte last season, round number 3 of the season. Did not find victory lane in season 46. Nor did he take a race win in season 45 either.
Yeah, one thing you might not know about Brian Barnes is he also competes in the Northwest Cup Series, and he is their defending champion, won the championship back in November.
Won at Texas in season 44, so it's been 2 races really since the first season. But anyway, as we come back from memory lane,
yeah, we'll see if Jeff Schmeier is able to get a decent restart in that outside lane, or if he's going to wind up having to fight Weaver down on the inside. Ace truck is in, and Ryan Steele waits to the last minute here and is going well after the restart zone there. Gets out to a tremendous start. Weaver's able to stay with him, but Schmeier's battling back on that high line. And he is going to be on the outside of Ryan Steele when they come through 1 and 2 again.
Jeff Schmeier getting very, very good runs off of that outside line. Josh Weaver, Bentley Glazer, Brian Barnes sitting there, top 5. Tim Bates having a very good run here tonight, running in that 6th position. Brad Allison doing the same in 7th. A little bit of a gap between Barry Phil and Mike Fisher is the next battle. Wayne Hutchison came down to pit road on that last caution, as did Ross Rawlings. So those two on fresh tires.
Yeah, Ross Rawlings, Mike Fisher dominated most of this race, so we'll see if they're able to work their way back through traffic and get back up towards the front here as they almost touch there.
Ross Rawlings on those fresh tires. 20-lap fresher tires than the drivers around him right now in that number 91, using that to his advantage on the outside line. Is going to go to the inside of Barry Phil in the 42.
Going to try and follow Mike Fisher through that hole there, but Barry Phil's battling back on that high side pretty well there.
Connection issue there for Mike Fisher as well, something we haven't seen yet tonight. Oh, hard into the wall.
Oh.
That's Tim Bates.
Tim Bates around, Barry Phil around, Hutchinson around.
That second incident happening as the 10 came back up across the racetrack. 21, the 42, and the 91 all just trying to avoid him.
Yeah, Ross Rollins keeps finding himself in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep, unfortunately. This is what happened with Bates here. It's a good run on the outside. Ooh, catches that wall.
A wall just came out and bit him there.
Yep,
And everybody tried to avoid it there. Barry Phil on that outside lane dove down to the inside trying to avoid and went right in front of Hutchinson and everybody else.
See, here's Barry Phil. The incident's happening in front here. Fisher gets away with it. Oh, it was... He being Barry Phil, pronouns, pal. Phil had just turned down a little bit too hard and broke traction, turned right into the side of the 91 and then right up in front of the 21. They both went.
So that will shake up the race yet again.
Absolutely. Bentley Glazer down pit road there, surrendering the 4th position. Only 4 sets of tires for these guys tonight. Bentley Glazer, that was his 8th time down pit road. He, by far and away, has come down pit road more than anyone else tonight. The only one close to him, Angelo Espo and Julian Ricci, as well as James Durr, all 3 of them have come down 5 times.
We'll see if that pit strategy is going to have an advantage for Bentley Glazer there.
Have a good 30-lap tire advantage on the rest of the leaders. Top 5 all last came down pit road on lap 132. Mike Fisher in 6th came down on lap 130. Earl Weaver came in on lap 141. That was after he got the lucky dog. Charles Woods, Bentley Glazer, Keith Kellman coming down on lap 162 and 163 respectively. So at a track that's not easy to pass at, there's a lot of cars between the freshest tires and the race leaders.
Yeah, so once again, Ryan still gets down on that inside with Josh Weaver behind him. Jeff Schmeier and Brian Barnes up on the high side with Mike Fisher just behind. So we'll see how this works.
It almost feels like the length of time on the tires as we get set to go back to green flag racing here. Ryan Steele straightens out, gets the green flag, off and running again. Jeff Schmeier getting a good restart comparative to what a lot of guys on the outside have been able to do. So good, as a matter of fact, he's going to hang it around the outside, try to go for the race lead.
Yeah, first time we've seen anybody on that high line get any sort of run. But Jeff Schmeier is making it work, and he is almost pulling away here from Ryan Steele. And Josh Weaver's kind of left in a lurch back there in 3rd.
What I was going to say was, it almost seems like the length of the tires doesn't seem to matter. It's almost like an official race. Just stay out on the racetrack. As everyone wrecks behind you, you're not going to have to work those tires out. Jeff Schmeier, speaking of working the tires out, just set the fastest lap of the race, 14:94, just the second driver to go inside the 14-second bracket. Bentley Glazer, the only other one, with a 14:99.
Yeah, last lap, he went a 14:95, so 2 laps in a row, he was just flying.
Glazer trying to use those fresh tires for inside of 30 laps to go. Catches the wall a little bit coming out of turn number 4. Now to the outside of Mike Fisher goes the 87, using that wall as a brace once again. Glazer up to 5th.
Yeah, used that wall, bounced off it a little bit, and is making the corner. Gets right back to the back bumper of Brian Barnes, down to the inside. Going to try and make that pass here. And he will complete the pass as they come out of the corner here.
So that 87 is on one heck of a charge right now, as Jeff Schmeier now a half a second ahead of Ryan Steele. Josh Weaver running in the 3rd position. He's the next one on Glazer's list. Keith Kellman battling side by side for position with Ross Rawlings. These two on the lead lap. Rawlings now up to 10th. Keith Kellman trying to get into the top 10, running in 11th.
Yeah, Ross Rawlings has got to be almost ecstatic with running inside the top 10 after the 2 incidents he's been involved in. You can tell by the look of that truck that he's had a rough night here at Bristol.
Things have not gone his way as Josh Weaver now gets passed as though he were standing still by Bentley Glazer. Now Glazer has just over 25 laps to catch and pass both Ryan Steele and Jeff Schmeier.
Well, he's running almost, 2 tenths faster than Jeff Schmeier right now?
Yeah, about a quarter of a second.
So he's definitely on rails trying to bring that truck to the front of the field.
It's only about a tenth of a second quicker, though, than Ryan Steele, so you get the sense that Steele is getting held up by Schmeier a little bit, as now Jeff Hollingsworth might try to play blocker a little bit. Nope, he's going to get right on out of the way as his teammate tries to chase down the two race leaders.
Caution is out. Looks like Charles Woods wound up spinning around there.
Another OGR teammate. So there is Charles Woods, 72-year-old from Glendale, Arizona. Saw his car quit on him earlier tonight, but beyond that, it's been a very quiet night for Woods. We'll see what happened here with him. Battling with Earl Weaver in the 46, and up into the rear corner of Weaver goes the 40. Oh, Dustin Burns, my goodness. Damaged it enough already. You may as well back it into the fence one more time.
Yeah, tried to get out of the way to make sure nothing else happened. But usually when you see somebody hit that left rear quarter panel, they spin too, and Earl Weaver just was able to keep going straight.
Now this will be interesting. The pitch strategy has switched. Ryan Steele has come down pit road here on this caution, and he will have about, I would say, 15 laps to try to catch back up and do what Bentley Glazer was just attempting.
Yeah, Josh Weaver hit the pit lane as well. So both those trucks that were up inside the top three there elected to hit pit lane. Puts them, looks like they're going to be 7th and 8th. So not too far behind once they get stacked up here.
I must say, this is a world first, I think. It's a little bit cold here in Southern California. I know is compared to other parts of the country, it's not as cold as it could be, and man, do I wish it was. Lips getting a little chapped, especially doing this. I have actually, for the first time in human history, have completed a tube of chapstick without losing it. And that is where this race has gone. Honestly, have you ever completed a tube of chapstick before you lost it?
No, never.
Well, I could tell you that a lot of the bottom of the chapstick is just hard plastic with the rest of it like shoved in it that you'll never be able to get to. So you're buying chapstick that you're never going to use at the very tail end of the stick, if you ever get there.
Sounds about right. The lights are out on that Pace truck as we're coming down the backstretch here. See if Bentley Glazer can get a run on that outside lane that Jeff Schmeier got last time.
Glazer has a lot fresher tires again. 31 laps. Fresher tires for that 87. 15 laps to go here at Bristol. Green flag back in the air.
Green flag back in the air. Mike Fisher had a little bit of a bobble of a start there. Bentley Glazer into second. Brian Barnes back in fourth.
Mike Fisher, a lap older tires than Jeff Schmeier out in front, as Ryan Steele not getting the benefit of clean racetrack. He's having to fight a little bit.
Nope, Josh Weaver got a little bit of a run there and is moving up towards the front. Angelo Espo just in front of him.
And that's Angelo Espo in 5th position, now 6th. So this is right up there. That's
Ryan Steele.
That Steele sideways, able to keep it straight. We stay green. Oh boy. So that will pretty much go.
I would say these guys have been sliding around quite a bit, but got those fresher tires and wanted to go to the front and just didn't wait long enough for them to warm up, it looked like.
That will pretty much end the run for 4 in a row. It's coming down now to 10 laps to go. Jeff Schmeier running that outside line. He appears to have found a new lease on life on those tires, running equal lap times to Bentley Glazer now.
Brian Steele has got to be kicking himself. He just ran the fastest lap of the race with a 14.86, even after he slid around.
That was still about a 1/10 off of what would have gotten him pole here tonight, as the pole sitter Mike Fisher now running in that 3rd position, trying to battle Jeff Schmeier, Bentley Glazer, for that 2nd spot.
Josh Weaver and Brian Barnes battling back there for 4th.
Weaver has it. Brad Allison also looking very, very strong, trying to get into the top 5 with a pass on Brian Barnes.
Yep, down to the inside, got to try and make that inside line work, but that outside line just has a little bit more speed coming off it. Brian Barnes almost into that wall.
Barnes will relinquish that 5th position to Brad Allison. Ryan Steele getting up past Angelo Espo, up into the 9th position, now trying to get past Keith Kelman. He has 1.6 seconds to Earl Weaver. But right now, the battle up here at the front is getting quite close between the top 4, as Jeff Schmeier really having to fight to keep Bentley Glazer, Mike Fisher, and Josh Weaver at bay.
Yeah, Josh Weaver has those fresher tires, and he is making them work. He gets right to the back bumper. Mike Fisher is going to probably try and stay to that high side to get a little bit better drive off the corner. Fisher floats up in front of him. Bentley Glazer down to the middle lane.
And this close battling has brought Brad Allison into the fight, as there goes the 43 around the outside of Bentley Glazer, as Glazer got a little bit loose coming off at turn 2. There goes the 43 now looking for the race lead with 3 to go.
Yeah, it looks like Mike Fisher got the run he wanted on that outside lane, and he is out in front again. The way the race started, 3 laps to go. Will Mike Fisher be able to hang on, or will Glazer or Schmeier or Weaver come through?
The man on the oldest tires right now in the race lead. Jeff Schmeier holding on to 2nd, at least for the moment. Josh Weaver and Bentley Glazer battling for the 3rd spot. White flag is in the air here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Josh Weaver now looking to the inside of Jeff Schmeier, and all this battling is just music to the ears of the 43 of Mike Fisher, who comes off of turn number 4. He will lose it. He'll go pole to win, but boy, oh boy, it had something to do, as Fisher somehow, I don't know if he lost drive, if the engine blew, or if he ran out of gas, but that car died coming across the line. He had to cut off Josh Weaver, and he will win on debut from the pole.
That was insane. I don't know what happened there. It's like he just stopped. Like not even coasted, like almost stopped.
See what happened here. Taking the white flag here. We'll jump on board with Fisher here on the next replay. It doesn't. Boy, it just. My goodness, he came very close to losing that race. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see again here on the final lap. Just listen to the engine, watch the tack. There's the white flag right there for Fisher. Here we go, 3 and 4. A little burp there. Oh, he might have run out of fuel. Engine didn't go. It stopped producing power. Boy, what a way to finish.
What in the world?
Well, you'll get a chance, Mike, to ask him yourself, because here is the race winner, Mike Fisher.
Hey, Mike, heck of a run there. Okay, I got to ask, what happened at the end of that race? You there, Mike?
All right, maybe we won't be interviewing Mike Fisher just yet. We do, however, have the third place finisher, Jeff Schmeier, so we'll start with him then.
Hey, Jeff, Mike up in the booth. Heck of a race tonight.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. We were overheating. We were running out of tires. It was crazy.
Yeah, you guys definitely put on a heck of a show. Coming to that final restart, were you thinking you had enough truck there to hold off the Josh Weaver and Mike Fisher there?
I don't know. I mean, I was trying to just stay out front with while trying to maintain the temperatures and everything like that. So, and I knew I didn't have very good tires, so for me, it was just about making it to the end. I just wanted to make sure I got up front, get some bonus points before before the race ended.
Yeah. So another podium finish for you. How does it feel to go back to the trucks after driving those Xfinity cars the last 2 weeks?
We'll see when we go back to a more intermediate type of track. This is just a weird setup with the truck overheating over and over again. So, but yeah, it's always fun to come back to the truck. So that's our bread and butter here. So it's definitely something to always look forward to.
Awesome. Anybody you want to thank on that truck before we let you go?
Of course, got to thank my Dog Bear team. We got Ryan up in the top 10, and Ryan did a great job too. And of course, got to thank my family, my mom and dad. They're on a cruise ship. They'll see this race later. And then of course, my girlfriend and my girlfriend's parents. I love you guys.
Awesome. Well, congrats again on the podium finish.
Thank you, sir.
That was your third place finisher, Jeff Schmeier. We'll try again here. We know Mike Fisher was having an issue hearing us. Mike, do you have us now? Mike, are you there? Mike may be having an audio setting issue. We will try to get a word in with the race leader to see race winner to see what happened there. We'll go to the results of the race here before we try one last time to get Mike on board. Mike Fisher, your race winner. Josh Weaver, your second place finisher. Jeff Schmeier, we just heard from him. Your third place finisher, Brad Allison, coming away with an incredible finish, P4 for him. Bentley Glazer finishing out the top 5. Brian Barnes, Earl Weaver, Ryan Steele, Keith Kelman, and Angelo Espo rounding out the top 10 finishers. Ross Rawlings, Barry Phil rounding out the lead lap finishers. Charles Woods came up a lap short of finishing on the lead lap. Dennis Fuson, Jeff Hollingsworth rounding out the top 15, and a poor finish for what was such an electric start to the season for Jeff Hollingsworth.
I just found himself a little bit in the wrong place, wrong time, but Wayne Fleet in 16th, Paul Crumry in 17th, Tim Bates back in 18th, Wayne Hutchinson 19th, Julian Ricci 20th. Dustin Burns turned some few laps and wound up 21st. James Dewar 22nd. David Weaver, Alan Bergen, and Eric Woods round out the top 25. Then you go back to Bob Beltrami, James Campbell, and Kyle McCartney.
So that will be the finishing order. We'll try Mike Fisher one more time. Mike, do you have us here, third time lucky?
Doesn't sound like it, Frank.
Yeah, I'm not
but
Yeah, I'm not
he
hearing
did.
it as well. He did put in chat, and I think this is what you were about to say. He did put in chat that he ran out of fuel at the very end of that, so that is why the finish ended up the way that it did. Let me try jumping down into the other chat with him here to try to see if that fixes anything. Mike, do you have us? Mike, are you there? And I think that will about do it here for the interview session. As unfortunately we're not quite able to get a word in with our race winner here tonight, but a caution-filled race here for this series tonight. It's one that it's a race that just it's not normal for this series, and I'm sure once we hit the next race at Darlington next week, I'm sure we'll see this series start to come back around to normal.
Oh yeah, we got Darlington, and then we go have an off week, and then we go to Texas and Iowa in the Xfinities. So definitely should have a pretty good month of February there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that will do it for us here tonight. For my broadcast partner, Mike Damoni, my name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you next week from the Lady in Black.